get into the platform and try to bring you what has actually transpired throughout the week. One more time, my name is Urban Brown, and I've already ushered into the house, and we're going to be taking you through the news items that have actually transpired throughout the week. It is a very 21st day of this very month of May, and I think this is the last Friday of this very month. One more time, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate you one more time for always keeping it Elkem TV, to wherever surrendering in your time, whatever thing that you actually give out for we to endeavor that this show, you actually connected or be part of this show. We actually appreciate you all over the place, and wherever you're catching up the show, appreciate you for always being part of this. And I can't actually forget to remind you that every single Friday we're right here, Agafiire Mu, and when the only way to get onto the site and be part of this show is getting onto YouTube. Type the word Elkem TV, subscribe, and put on the bell. Don't forget to have a comment towards this particular show. As you all know, that every single Friday that onto the panel, I'm not always alone. I always come through with my scrutinizers or my analysts in the house, and just allow me give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, and we proceed with the show as well. Mr. Kangao Yesedi, thanks for coming through and being live onto the sites of Elkem TV. I pray that you just have a word for the viewers of Elkem TV, and we open up our show officially.
Kangao Yesedi is my name, and I've always been waiting for this program since the week started, and I just implore and request all the audience and all our friends in the Masindi community at the national level in Uganda, but also those viewing us internationally, you're most welcome. Just stay tuned, we have a lot.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kangao Yeseri, for that great greeting for the viewers, or salutation for the viewers of Elkem TV, and welcoming them for being part of this particular show. Anaba Moses, one more time, thanks for being on two of the sites of Elkem TV, and I pray that you have your introduction or your first words for the viewers of Elkem TV, and then we get to proceed with the show.
Thank you very much. Our esteemed viewers, welcome you for this special edition, as we do it all. That's always Friday. Yes, every Friday from this hour up to the hour when we shall be signing off. I want to welcome whoever is there eagerly waiting and following to follow us. I appreciate and thank you so much. That just don't forget, and we push on as usual.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andaba Moses, for actually coming through and being live onto the sites of Elkem TV. One more time, my name is Urban Brown onto this beautiful show entitled Agafiire Mu Wiki, every single Friday, where we come out with the stories that have actually transpired throughout the week. Right now, just without wasting my time, just allow me move into the stories, the deep stories that have sprouted within this period of these few days of this week. You know, this very week there have actually been a couple of things that have made in wave or made rounds all over the country and outside the country as well. You remember that we don't only concentrate into the stories that have happened in the country, but actually go onto the international scene, and we get to see what has actually also transpired onto the international scene. Right here we start with our story being in Masindi. This is we saw this very week as a policeman actually shooting one of the suspects over resistance to being to the arrest, and away from that story, we actually move on to another story. This very week we saw the deputy speaker, that is Thomas Tayewa, commending the government multi-billion electricity scalar project that is in Mitoni district. And away from there, we get on to another story that has actually transpired this very week from a report from conducted by the Association of School Inspectors, showing that Ugandan children are only learning to pass exams, not to actually get the real knowledge that they're supposed to pick from school. And away from there, moving on to the other story that we've actually got into the table today is this very week we have seen a massacre journalist seek apology from the No party. And with that away from there, just allow me now moving to the international scene. We get to see what has actually transpired throughout outside our country, Uganda. This very week we have actually seen the days of the Iranian president, that is none other than President Ibrahim Raisi, actually is called Ibrahim Soldati, commonly known as Ibrahim Rasi, that actually passed on in a plane crash that was on Sunday last week, so actually ending last week. And away from there, right here, just allow me get you into a short break, and when we do the return, we shall actually be proceeding with this particular show. But before we get into a break, I can't actually forget to remind you that get into your YouTube app, type the word Elkem TV, subscribe, and don't forget to actually type your comment to this particular show as well. Just a break, and we come back shortly.
Mchara
waitu
Madina Education Center olirabye.
Madina Education Center isomero muno mugenya karoraho kale likusikiriza muno owenkwonki onu no hagenda kutandikira kusoma
Ajati omwana akyayonka
arayonka nasoma kandi nkugenda nokuzala y'abandi basatu nabo basomera hano Madina Education Center
abafe Madina Education Center ngotuseyo olabira ddala Madina eri eyo Middle East naye esomero liri wano Nyakibe Masindi Kafu Road.
Madina Education Center isomero ndigondeze lyabojo n'abaisiki then boarding primary school baina nursery section hamuna daycare section batirexi kala bana barahumuraga harume byokuzanisa nka toys enungi muno
ate primary section nayo ya mulembe nnyo abasomesa batendeke bulungi classes zesize nyini metron wali dormitories nungi zirimu n'emifaliso actually emifaliso bitabo kalamu wamu ne peni byonna bisangayo y'okusomero byabwerere bayina ne school van eyokutambuza abaana.
Madina Education Center liri ha musinga gw'obusiramu bayitu tubakusorora dini n'abakristayo bakutangirwa school fees nizisoboka okwehandikisa ku kugenda omaiso aisomero eri kusangibwa Nyakibete mairo 3 okuruga Masindi town Masindi Kafu Road bateirona special class yokukwata kuruhano mutwe kubanye bikusinga otera hasimu 0-8-5-8-32 rundi 0-3-2-9-3-9-6-0M.
A very good evening once again, and you're welcome back from that short commercial break. My name is Aban Brown. Every single Friday we're right here for just 1 hour show to actually update you on what has actually transpired throughout the week. One more time, before we got into a break, I'd actually taken you through the headlines, or what we can call the top stories that have actually transpired. And right now, just allow me get into the real gist of this particular show, or we try to dig deep into these stories and get to know what has actually transpired most. Mr. Anama Moses, one more time, thanks for coming through and being onto the sites of Elkem TV. This week, in our district, that is Masindi, we have seen a police officer actually trying to carry out an arrest of one suspect in a sub-county called Wijanga. But unfortunately, into the process of trying to effect the arrest, he ended up shooting the suspect and killed him instantly. And the suspect has been in the names of Ronald Simwe and Senono Igenya. Again, that has been the police officer, and into while effecting the arrest, had actually moved through with also Wilson Musinguzi as a police crime preventer, and to the execution of the arrest. But unfortunately, into the process, they ended up killing the suspect. Actually, there have been actually a number of words that have been making rounds that police officers currently, they don't know what their duties. Instead of trying to effect the arrest fairly, they have started doing some shootings of the suspects. Is this actually the right way that police officers have to do things, or maybe that is how it have actually tarnished the image of police officers as well?
Thank you very much, moderator. Actually, it was so touching when we heard of that Ronald Asimwe, who was killed, 30 years old, resident of Kinanabwere. They actually reported a case of assault against him, but though they did not reveal who exactly reported the case, because I myself interviewed, I contacted the regional police spokesperson, Hakeza, over that, but some eyewitnesses and the residents were like that the wife was the one who reported the case, but the police hold that because of investigation they don't want to jeopardize with the evidence.
Okay.
So actually Asimwe, yes, the Senon, that man, I think most people knew him during COVID. He is no nonsense man. That's Eugenia Senon who actually sought that man. And the information coming, the information that came from the regional spokesperson, that's for police, Alan SPC, Alan Hakiza,
Yes.
it was like that even Senon by himself did not get permission from OC station or Bujanga police post to go and
To
effect the arrest. So when he went there, it was like just he went with that crime preventer and they just banked into things and their scalpel started. By 11:43, they ended the life of the innocent man, Asime Ronald, because he was not yet guilty. It is the court that proved you.
Basing on the story and how things have been actually making grounds,
Yes.
we get to know that into the process of the arrest, they tried to arrest him.
Yes.
So he tried to resist the arrest.
Yes.
And decided to take off. So in the process, the police officer decided, I think it was in the process of trying to scare him to stop. He started shooting bullets.
Yes.
Shot around 6 bullets, but in the process, one caught him on the back side, and unfortunately, that's what led to his death.
Yeah, so that one is not accepted, but even SPC Hakiza condemned that, that they condole with the entire force, and actually the death of that man was unfortunate. The core mandate of police is to keep law and order and protect the citizens, not to shoot. So that actually Senono shall be looked. Since yesterday they were searching for him, and they will arrest him. He will have to face law. After shooting then Bujanga, he decided to go to Pakanyi and left the gun at Pakanyi police post
station.
because people, the police at Pakanyi were not aware of what transpired in Bujanga after killing. So the man left the gun there. He pretended as if he was just keeping around, but he fled.
Disappeared.
So they are looking for him, and really we condemn that. Police are not supposed to do that. You are not supposed to shoot. If you are trained to kill, then you have to go for war. Not here to kill people. You are supposed to arrest someone, you bring that person, and the person has to face the law. Though they allow those people to shoot, but you are not supposed to shoot someone to die. You shoot either the leg, where you know that person will heal, but you are not supposed to shoot to kill. Otherwise, police, that thing has not been good. Though their spokesperson actually condemned it, but I don't think that people were happy with
actually, if
that.
you looked onto how the thing started, basing on how the story came out, we actually got to know that it is the scuffle started from home, whereby there was some kind of home violence, that the woman went to the chairperson, this one, and reported the case, and from there she didn't actually, she was not satisfied basing on what the chairperson had decided amongst them, and from there she continued to police. And when police tried to intervene and try to raise the chairperson, and the chairperson said, no, it's fine, I will do it, I'll actually get into these issues and solve them. But the lady, the wife, didn't accept what was actually didn't actually accept the decision of the chairperson. So in the process, he decided to go back to police and actually effected the arrest, to tell these people to actually conduct the arrest. So in the process, it's when he lost the husband. But into this very story, we getting to know and the kid that he had burnt at the hands of the kid, alleging over safety. Yes. So I think even like a mother, she got disgusted, and in the process ended up doing what? Going to police.
Taking the life of the husband.
Absolutely.
It was unfortunate, but a domestic violence or misunderstandings at home, they're always there. But amidst that, what you have to do is like counselors, those chairperson ones, they're there to solve issues. Like, yes, it was right, she was not satisfied with the ruling of the chairperson.
Yes.
Maybe chairman could have been in the side of the man. Then, she was right to go to police, because also if you feel that the justice or the chairperson's decision is not fair for you, can go to police. Now police coming was to intervene, but not to come and shoot.
Okay.
And even her, I think, on her mind was not to take away the life of the husband.
Yes.
Her intention was like to take the husband to go and learn a lesson. Maybe they should counsel him over the issue of domestic issues or family issues.
Okay.
But unfortunately, luck was not there on his side. So,
okay.
unfortunate for her and the entire family.
So bad. Thank you very much, Mr. Andama Moses, for having that submission towards that news item. Let me get to Kangao Yeseri. Kangao Yeseri, thanks for coming through and being live onto the sites of Elkem TV. This very week, we have seen a news item, actually, a story transpiring within the district of Masindi, that is in Wijanga sub-county, in the villages of Kinena Buhere, whereby a man was shot by a police officer and he died. He lost life in the process of effecting the arrest. Now, why should after this story, we saw here the RDC of Masindi actually intervening and saying that trying to stop police officers from actually effecting the arrests in the night, that they are risky. Don't you see that into the process of basing on the statement that the RDC said of stopping the policemen to actually conduct these arrests in the night, that there is how it's going to promote crimes, in that during the time period somebody can hide, and the best time of arresting a criminal is at night? Won't it affect the process or the work of police as well?
Well, by the time someone gets to the rank of a DPC, a district police commander,
yes,
likely he has a lot of experience.
It was the RDC.
The RDC.
Rather than this commissioner.
Yeah, who heads the security in the whole district.
The whole district, yes.
Still, by the time you climb up to that rank, we are trusting you really understanding a lot of details about security.
Yes.
So I have no problem, because but likely they looked at, or he looked at many issues and then to come up with that decision. But on that issue, all has been really said. Like, for example, I want to believe that police officer to behave like that, he was not representing what the Ugandan police does or what the Masindi police does. Likely that is an incident in isolation. Yeah, as Andama has put it, as a police, they are not supposed to shoot and kill unless really when it is a very extreme case. But just a mere arrest like that, especially if you're coming to deal with someone who is not armed, really, as Andama put it, likely even if he wanted to resist or to box or to put some situation, the only recommended thing is to weaken him, so that they make it easier to arrest him. Maybe to shoot in the leg, or so that he collapses on the ground and then they just pick him, but not to shoot to kill. But also, again, as I've told you, that what he did doesn't represent what police in Masindi does. And that is ideally the reason why, after doing it, he felt guilty and he knew the law will catch up with him. That's why he handed over the gun to some other location, and then he took off. But still, as we have heard, the hunt is still on. They are looking for him. Likely, when they get him, he will come and pay for the damages and all the crime he has committed, because he's really responsible. One thing we have to remember, that these people, before they are put in uniform, before they are handed over a tool like a gun, they first undergo
a training,
very good training.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for example, here in Masindi, it's where we are having this Kabarwana police training center. So if the school is this close and then such incidents are happening within the same locality,
it's not
that can be very unfortunate and very embarrassing. But sorry for the family and sorry for the man. But also the other issue, we can never rule out is, who knows, this was a domestic violence issue. Who knows if the woman also perhaps wanted it that way.
It could,
or she might. Yes. I'm not saying she might have, for example,
corrupted
the officer. Says, you know what, this is the amount. like, for example, you remember what happened with Abiriga?
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes you think maybe it was thieves, but later on you realize
When it
was a member
something
from the
bad.
family, the wife, who was behind all this. So who knows, maybe she's the one who corrupted the officer and she wanted the story to end like that. So either way, it was a very unfortunate story.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kanga Oyeseri, for that submission towards that news item. And one more time, I want to take this opportunity to also emphasize whoever is actually tuned to this Elkem TV, when maybe these people are sent to come and arrest you, don't disturb them, because these are also people, I know that they have hunger, and anything can be done when somebody is disgusted. So, but it's so unfortunate, and may the soul of Simwe rest in eternal peace. We pray that police also improves in one way or the other. One more time, away from that story, we get onto another story that has actually transpired out this very week in the district of Masaka. We, Mr. Kanga Oyeseri, we have actually been seeing the new president, that is none other than Kyagulanyi Sentamu Robert, that is Elias Bobby Wine, actually rallying out in different places in the country. But unfortunately, there was a businessman that actually died in Masaka, and as they went for the burial, he actually moved with his bodyguards to the burial places. And unfortunately, as they were there, or as the burial was going on, some media personalities were assaulted in the process. And this very week we have seen one of the leaders of Masaka Journalist Association actually writing, it's called the Greater Masaka Journalist Association, writing writing a letter seeking we have seen Masaka journalists seeking apology from the NUP over assault that were made, because based on the story, we saw that over 3 journalists were actually assaulted and some of their gadgets also spoiled, and these people are demanding for the recovery of the gadgets and also some kind of compensations, because these people were seriously hit and harmed. So they have actually been complaining, and when we get to look onto the story, we see that some of the victims that were actually assaulted into this process was Miss Gertrude Mutiaba from National Media Group in Uganda, and we also had another lady, that is Miss Margaret Kiondo from Radio Simba, and another lady, that is Mrs. Zainabu Namu Swazi from Next Media Services. These 3 journalists were actually assaulted by the bodyguards of Bobby Wine, and into the process, based on the story, we saw that Zainabu, as she was actually trying to talk to media personalities, she said that into the process, people around where they were these people actually trying to, the scaffolders, try to stop the bodyguards, trying to tell them that no, these are journalists, just do it, leave them. But the bodyguards insisted till the time that Eddie Mutwe came in and said, no, leave these people. Just in that way. Which kind of image does it create for the national unity platform? Instead of associating fairly with the media, we see this time round trying again to fight media. Which image is it actually putting the national unity platform?
Well, the unity platform trying to fight the media, to me, it's more of an exaggeration, because I am trying to look at the context of exactly what happened. The attention was not on the journalists. They have gone for burial. A lot of dignitaries have come to attend. And you know the situation right now, the status quo of NUP inside is not very good. This is a time when they are having some disagreements inside. And then some of those who feel discontented for losing their privileges, they also were there. Actually, if you saw exactly, the person who brought all this was Honorable Abed Bwanika. Why? Because as they are attending, it started off really well, not until Honorable Abed Bwanika started to throw insults on Bobby Wine. And even when he was still talking, you could see the crowd is already unhappy. They were throwing wrong words on him. They were saying, you sit down, you remove the microphone from him. Why? Because of what happened to Mpuga.
Because honestly, basing on the story, we see that into the process, these journalists were actually trying to execute their work, trying to take some coverages, and into the process, the other people came and said, no, the bodyguards of Bobby Wine, what are you doing? Why are you recording this nonsense? So it's from where the scuffle started from.
Yes, and that's why I'm giving all this context. Now, the journalists, they were standing right in the middle of where these big guys were. Now, Honorable Bwanika, when he was given the opportunity and handed over the microphone, himself, he said, I want to stand right in front of Bobby Wine so that they can have an eye-to-eye contact.
Eye contact, yes.
He was targeting two people, Bobby, and then I think he's the deputy spokesperson. Yes, of No. Now, when he started to throw these insults, then the people became annoyed. And then before you know it, now people started feeling angry, and then before you know it, then they came and grabbed the microphone from him. That's how the saga came. Now, the other point that cannot be ruled out is the fact that some of that violence was just planned.
Very nice. Actually, if you looked at the expression of, it's called Farish Magembe, the president of Gramaja, Greater Masaka Journalists Association. Onto his expression, he said that expressing deep concern over the Noop statement, he said, it was a deliberate attempt to undermine the integrity and values of journalists in the area. Understand? That was his statement, and how he actually tried to look through the statements of the Noop.
Because for me, maybe so.
It was a planned.
It might have been a planned thing that those people who caused the chaos were briefed and perhaps even paid, including even Honorable Abed Bwanika. He might have come there to disorganize the whole barrier, and so that maybe even some other, boys, they might have been paid to directly cause the fight like that. So that it paints a very poor picture to the Noob. That is a possibility. But for the journalists, I am a journalist.
Yes.
I don't wish bad to any member of my own.
Yes.
In fact, this is something that I strongly condemn. Like what those people, the Association of Journalists from Masaka are demanding for. Honestly, let Noob management and the leadership, let them do it. Let them pay for all the damages, like for example, all the gadgets for all those journalists they lost. But also, they should also apologize. There is no excuse for that. But also, it's also a lesson for me and you, and even Andama and any journalists in here in Masindi and everywhere, to also be careful, especially once we should be able to foresee. They saw the crowd is already hitting. People are almost now exchanging blows. And for a journalist, that is even the best time to make the news, to have the shots, to make sure all those sharp words, you're getting them. And sometimes we forget about our own lives. And usually that happens if we are not careful. Now, the most unfortunate bit of the story is some of these journalists, actually they were ladies. Now, the people fighting are men. So we have to be careful never to put ourselves right in the middle of hot soup deliberately. At least let it take us by surprise when we didn't know. But it's nice to foresee, and then we hide. At least we keep a distance. We keep getting the whole story, but from some reasonable distance from danger.
Okay, that's very good. Kangao Yeseri, thanks for that great submission towards this news item. Andama Moses, back to you. This very week, we have seen the new, the president of Masaka Journalist Association, Greater Masaka Journalists Association, that is none other than Magembe, actually writing a letter to the NOP party of trying to seek an apology from them, but up to now we have actually not yet seen anything from the from NOP or any say. Only that there is one of the party members that mentioned on the television that it wasn't good, but we've not yet gotten any positive response based on what was actually done, because gadgets were spoiled and people were beaten onto this very scaffold, which actually appeared bad. Now, onto this very story, we have seen a journalist on under the Greater Masaka Journalists Association, actually, I won't say threatening, actually saying that they may end up boycotting the NOP party or the NOP. President Bobby Wine. What is your say about this?
Thank you. You know, that issue of massacre, really, me as a journalist, I think I condemn it, because if I'm going to execute my duty, I am entitled to that. Because I have to do my things. I have freedom. And also, when I'm in the field, I need also to be professional and follow the ethics of journalists. Exactly. So some of us as journalists, you know, we are human beings. And we have political parties. And most journalists, though we are supposed to be professional and have no sides, they have their parties they support. So there are those who are in the side of Mpuga, there are those who are in the side of Kyagulanyi.
Yes.
You find that in such gatherings, I might be having an interest of covering something that I think will favor my person, whom I support. Indirectly, you might not be knowing. So that thing is also there. You know, journalists, they have people they support, they have parties they support. But in case of such things, they don't always want to come out to actually show their side. But you may find that there are some people who always know them, that this one is on the side of the other one. Now in such things, you find problems coming, and people always target such journalists when they go and cover such event. Now there's someone who, I may read for you this opinion here of this person, just briefly, that I have not seen the victims physically, but what I hear is from journalists and some of the supporters from either sides. It is said that there are a number of people who were bruised and badly beaten, but the most mentioned ones are journalists. From Greater Masaka. From the time Kyagulanyi and Mpuga fell out, as former comrades, their supporters formed defensive groups on social media, and it wasn't when Mpuga's supporters went to Mengo and beat Waiswa Mafumbiro's twin brother by mistaken identity. This incident was given much attention. I never heard Mpuga, not even anyone close to him, coming out to apologize for nor condemn such an ugly incident. To me, I never took it lightly, and I knew at one point there will be retaliation. To my good journalists, I have followed keenly. Many of them took side between Mpuga and Kyagulanyi, and the majority in Greater Masaka choose Mpuga's side. My poor journalists are misled on following and joining these different camps to give in hand in the fights taking place. In doing this, trust me, we are yet to see the worst, and more journalists shall continue becoming victims of brutality by supporters of this camp, respectively. Reason the journalists become victims of circumstances is that these social media soldiers or dogs keep records of everything posted by these journalists, and others whenever arise a discussion between these fighting camps on what took place at a funeral in Luengo wasn't by mistake, but I think whoever was beaten was on the list. I have heard and seen many journalists behaving like street bloggers. I think this is a result of poor pay by their employers. If you are a journalist, we are well catered for. They don't allow themselves to be used by politicians who give them some handshakes. And at the end of the day, they get compromised and fail to do their work as expected. So you hear the opinion of this man.
Yes.
And to some extent, I really agree with this person. As I told you earlier on, some journalists have sight, but also some can easily be compromised into such a political things.
It is true.
those people have monies, and they can either use you, Urban Brown, that you know what, for example, Andama is going to contest as the chairman LOC5 or MP Kiriandongo. To fight my enemy, they'll be using you. You will always be the one to go and cover the events.
Yes.
So you will be targeting whatever any mistake I make, you capture it. So you will always just
use
follow,
the mistakes
kill
to
it.
fight.
Any mistake made, you capture it. So you keep that record. Time will come where may be problems. Now they start attacking each other. That video clip, so that's why you saw Bobby Wine's bodyguards were seriously trying to obstruct those journalists after identifying when the scandal started. They didn't want those journalists to cover that video clip because they know they have self-interest on those things. Now they'll be using it in the Mpuga's camp that this is what they did. So that was so defensive, and I support it because some journalists really do those things after being compromised. But all in all, when we are executing our duty, we always need to be professional. We should be ethical on the ethics of journalists to make sure that everyone will learn or love our things that we are doing, the content, than saying you are a professional, you have been compromised, poverty, what. So that thing is bad. But I condemn the beating of journalists. But to my fellow journalists also, we should always learn and stick on our professionalism regardless of what comes.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe before we get to a way of this story, I just wanted you to have some kind of guidance. We, as a NOOP party that is actually rallying out, and it's a fair, we actually look it forward to appear onto the 2026 ballot. And into the process that they are looking for the votes, it's the right time that they are causing violence. Where do you see its image being painted?
Yeah, we have ever seen every election time, every time when people are coming, different parties, but oppositions, it happens. You see scaffolds, they are not given freedom. Now, I think this thing of regional mobilization or tours, it's constitutional. They have rights to move, but sometimes they are restricted. Now, for example, if Kyagulanyi was to come to Masindi, there are certain places where they restricted them that not to go there. But his main campaign is where? In Masindi.
Yes.
Where he was supposed to move, he is supposed to move freely. If he is to come and camp at the stadium, yes. But he has to do some mobilization within. He can reach to Kijura, he can reach to Kirasa. He has to go to the place where their audience. So when you restrict me, of course I know where my audience are and people who will follow me. Now, what do you expect me to do? Because I have to reach to the place where I think, I have to attract my people. Now you want to come and keep me here. Whom am I going to address? I have to do mobilization. Even NRM, for them, if they're also coming to do some kind of their mobilization, they go and pick people from the villages, they go and transport people. What they want is they are targeting the audience. Now, so that's what makes it news. But this thing of scaffold, I'm telling you, if they are to allow opposition to move, like how NRM people are moving, there is not going to be no scaffold. People are freely, know that people who are coming to follow, those people are coming to fight, For them, they're excited of their candidates, they're excited of the people they follow. If they are following Kyagulanyi, they're not following him because they want to fight, no. If they could allow them to follow or run behind, what could they fight? How could supporters fight among themselves? It is security that is always inciting such things. They are restricting and even infringing on the rights of people. People have rights to follow their supporters the way they want. Only that may be if they are fighting against the security personnel for what they are not satisfied of. But you start beating people that you are not supposed to reach in this place. That is not called for. They should allow them to do their things.
Lastly, should the NOOP apologize over what happened, or what is your take about that?
To apologize over what happened in Masaka? Yes, they cannot make apologies. NOOP should come out and apologize for what has happened.
Okay.
Life continues.
Okay, thank you very much for having that great submission right now. We say that NOP members, whoever is actually watching this, whatever this platform, we pray that you actually get to know the right thing or what is in the field. You go and apologize for these people, because we are the people that create that platform for you. You can't actually work out without the media. And I advise right now the media to also take care in the process of executing our duties as well. Allow me move you on to another news item that has actually transpired through the week. This very week, we have actually gotten reports conducted by the Association of School Inspectors. We have seen actually a news item saying that Ugandan children are only learning to pass exams. Is it true that Ugandan children are only learning to pass exams, not picking the real knowledge that they're supposed to pick from school? Mr. Ndama Moses.
I don't know where they have based that research, but if the experts, they could be knowing, and they might have find the reason as to why.
This was sounded by Mary Francis Atim, the head of Directorate of Education Standards at the Ministry of Education and Sports. The study assessed the quality of teaching and learning, management, preparation of teachers, and and other areas in school settings. Now, away from there are a couple of things that were actually brought on table that have actually led to the causes of this poor learning in schools. Mentioning some of them is there is a poor quality of teaching is very low. That is actually leading to this. And away from that, there is also preparation of teachers. They're saying that in the way that teachers are prepared is not a clear profession way that these people have to do their things or execute their work. It's so problematic, basing on the speech that we actually got from this very news. This lady here, the director, and it's actually said that 64 out of the 100 primary school learners are being taught to navigate exams rather than to understand and engage with the education materials. Understand? That is what she actually said. And away from there, we get to see the Lira, a district inspector of schools and general secretary for the Association of Schools and Inspectors, actually attributing this to exam-oriented. Is saying that currently, if you looked at the standard schools, they're actually concentrating on students or pupils to pass exams, but not teaching them. They're actually trying to show them ways of passing exams, but not trying to give them the real knowledge or the real things that they were supposed to pick. And they also attributed this to competition for better grades and performance, coupled by the mushrooming of a number of private schools that seeks to attract more learners. So what is actually your say? Is it true that currently Ugandans are studying to pass exams, not to actually pick the real knowledge they're supposed to pick from school?
Yes, I think I partly agree with that, because not all Ugandans, but learners, right now, when you try to see the competition, especially in private schools, they are just after making their pupils to pass. They are targeting number of pupils next term. When your school performs well, produces a very good first grade, automatically you know that next time the number of learners shall increase highly. So the teaching those people do is not like how the curriculum actually wants, or the real content they expect teachers to pass through. Teachers nowadays, or most education, or people, business. Education is business nowadays.
Yes, it's business.
People are targeting number of pupils where money will come. And even, are you aware there are some schools who don't even register second grade pupils? They don't. First grade, because why? They know those already made materials, and they are going to produce grades to raise the name of the school. That will attract more parents to bring their learners. The even schools who hire other pupils or students from other schools to come and sit and make a name for that school. They exchange. There are many schools, even including here in Masindi. They go and buy maybe in Hoima, maybe in Flobeto. They bring those pupils, they bring those learners to come and sit, but they produce first grade. At the end, you find, such a school has produced very many first graders. Next time, parents will send their people. So what they are teaching right now, it is very true. Most schools are teaching in order to get first grade, but not transforming knowledge into the minds of those learners. So that in the future, maybe they will use that knowledge to do other things. No, they just want first grade. They go and buy papers, read papers.
Should we say that these schools at times are accessing, maybe there is how they multi-practice during the time of exams?
Exactly. In most times you have ever seen schools when it is like 3 days or 1 day to exams. You find when they are busy, the examination malpractice. So if really you have been teaching your learners, start panicking when you are left only at the last days. What have you been teaching? So implying your target is just to give them some knowledge or just a brief knowledge where they will put something on, even others completely. They just go and, you know what, there is this and this and this and this. Read the things, this one is going to come. Even if I have not been going to class.
Yes.
But I know at the end I will come and sit for exams.
Yes,
and
pass them.
So they have not been giving the real content to the learners, and that thing will affect them. That's why in most times you find pupils from rural places, when they go in universities, they get first class degrees. Why? Because they concentrate, they read right from the foundation up to where they are. But in most schools where there's competition, in urban areas, people just go for ready-made things. I cannot attend the class, I come and sit to hear that I have passed in first grade. I had my OB. That guy was very dull. We started with him. Yes. But I was surprised. He repeated even B7 for how many times. The man got first grade after going to very good, expensive school. So, really, we even surprised. That guy, the best thing he could do was third grade or fourth. But he was in first grade. Implying even he could not attend classes. He did not leave that policy of those in classes up to where he is. But he passed. So implying their school just really made the thing, even if they don't teach you, what they want is at the end, my school has produced 100% first grades.
Meaning he's even dodging where he's working from.
You don't want to know how they got it, but they are passing first grade.
He's even dodging at the workplace.
He's dodging. So the finding of those people, I agree with them.
Okay, thank you very much, actually, Honorable Moses, for having that great submission towards this news item. Right now, I get back to Kangao Yeseri. Kangao Yeseri, this week we have actually seen reports coming out from the ministry, reports actually being conducted by the Association of Inspector of Schools, and there are a number of things that have actually been brought on table, saying that that it is as a result of a couple of things to why students or pupils are performing so poorly. You find that it's over 64% of 100 primary schools learners that are being taught to navigate exams rather than actually to understand and engage the education materials. You understand? So currently, right now, we have actually seen people trying to complain or contribute towards this news item, saying that they are worried over tomorrow's generation, whereby today people are not actually learning the real things they had to learn, but they're just giving them knowledge of passing exams. What is the working experience you see in the future time?
No, the education system in Uganda is rubbish. I heard Andama saying some schools. Yes. I am saying all schools. No. Why?
Yes.
Because the problem is not on schools. The problem is on the curriculum. Why?
But
because, for example, look at this. I have seen students, for example, dropping out of P7. When you stop in P7, what are you able to do?
Nothing.
Using your education?
Nothing.
When you finish senior 4, what are you able to do?
Nothing.
When you finish senior 6, what are you able to do?
Nothing.
Nothing. Even if they taught you that how to Kalusham plus water, so you get Kalusham.
You're trying to tell us that the problem is with the curriculum.
It is zero. The curriculum is fake.
So
it
this
is
is
not practical. For example, look at this.
Yes.
A child who is studying in China, in the US, those developed countries,
Yes.
by the time a kid finishes P7, he's able to make some things. They're the ones making these these toys.
Dolls and whatever.
The vehicle toys they are importing here, the ones we are buying for our kids. Just P7. But in Uganda,
Which is not happening here.
in Uganda, you finish, even you have a degree on the university, but you can't
When
make
there
a
is nothing
toy.
you can do.
Yes. Right now,
Yes.
I want also to compare, look at it from this side. You see, education should not be viewed through only one narrow angle of passing exams. It should touch every aspect of life, teaching us good manners, teaching us how to be responsible future citizens of this country. But it is not addressing that at all. That's why you're seeing even the morality is very bad. When you look at Uganda, and it is not even in Uganda, this education system, the things we are studying are not for here.
They're imported.
They are not related even.
They were imported.
They were imported.
Whereby even the people that brought it,
Yes.
we transitioned long time
Yes.
in other things.
You go, for example, and you study hotel management. They are going to teach you how to cook Indian food, how to cook Italian
Not
food.
the local food here.
Yes. I see. The other thing is, have you also realized that, for example, even Uganda, our for example, our big guys, like for example, His Excellency the President, he is giving a lot of money to schools, to universities, so that we produce doctors here, not so?
Yes.
But for him, when he gets sick, where does he go?
Abroad.
Why not? Why doesn't he go to Mulago? Because he doesn't trust his own product. When, for example, we want to, for example, maybe construct a flyover, like for example, from this maybe flyovers or this Entebbe Express Highway. Do we use engineers from here?
We bring engineers from abroad.
Why? And yet we have engineers here with degrees. They have.
So should we say the problem is with the Ugandan Ministry of Education government, or the government as itself, the parliament that set things? Where is the problem?
I told you it lies on the curriculum. The things we are studying.
So the problem is the Ministry of Education.
It is the curriculum. Whoever designed this, whether it is the Ministry of Education responsible,
Yes.
let them
Because they are
be.
the ones that are responsible.
Yes. I am telling you. You remember, I think it used to be senior 4. I'm forgetting. I think it was around senior 4,
Yes.
O level. They are teaching you Canadian prairies. They are teaching you wheat growing. They are teaching, but you don't know what we are in Masindi. You don't know what is going
Happening
on
in Kinyara.
in Kinyara. You don't know what is going on in
Learning something in
Hoima.
Canada.
But they're teaching you Canadian prairies. The other time I was saying, even a teacher who is teaching you Canadian prairies, my dear, he has never been there. Even if you put him in a plane and you fly over the Canadian prairies,
But,
he will not touch you and say,
some few years back, I heard that the syllabus or curriculum was amended.
It was amended. But I was happy when I heard the amendment. But still, they have only done a very small thing. Okay, let's wait, for this new curriculum. The students, those who will go through it up to senior 4, we see if they will start producing things.
We still have a big problem.
A big one. So the problem is on the what?
On the curriculum.
Now it has affected life in Uganda seriously. It has made us dependent on the other European countries.
Yes.
When we want an engineer, we have to
Whereby
import
we
one.
have all the materials.
When you need when everything raw materials are here,
yes.
but we just cannot use them. We have here fuel, but nobody
we are bringing in,
is able to
we are
excavate
bringing
it.
engineers.
We have to go the other side. Now, look at how we are struggling with corruption. Because the education system has not taught us to become good citizens. The morality is poor. Are you seeing how, for example, people are eating, enjoying big chunks of money in the parliament?
This could be a lack of patriotism amongst Ugandans. That is
Yes.
not sensitized.
So when you say patriotism,
Much
when you say patriotism,
yes.
it should be part of the curriculum, not to be taught
To
a
train.
few, not only when, for example, you are appointed as, for example, a chairman LC5, then we take you to Changwanzi.
They train
No.
students to be patriotic.
Yes, it should start from
the
infancy.
grassroots.
Yes,
Like
from
how it happens in some other countries. like
Absolutely.
India. Yes.
Everything we are studying is not for here. For example, we are using, which language are we using here?
That one you speak.
But now, you
Yes.
think about a jaja who has a TV, a grandmother
At
who
home.
is in the village,
It's just
and maybe he
viewing,
wants
yes.
you put for him Elkem. What is he going to understand? Nothing. They put, for example, the Constitution in English. But how many people
Understand the constitution.
understand it? Now you need another person who has a lawyer
To translate.
to tell you, you see,
This one means this and this.
go to courts of law here, just here in Masindi, at the Chief Magistrate's Court. He sits here, but there is a translator there. Now, I always see, when I go there, I always see these people who have not gone to school. The man, the judge tells him, so you are supposed to maybe do this. Then the man keeps on looking. Then this one has to say, Bagambire, you have to do this.
Maybe
Can you
even
imagine
says,
that?
says it in a different way.
Yes, you see, even
On the
for
way that you
example,
have understood something.
you see, even for example, when it comes even to simple things like, for example, maybe applying for something. When you apply, they put their condition. You must have passed English.
Why not other languages?
Does it mean it for someone to be sharp?
Why not
it
passing
depends on
Uganda?
English.
Why not passing
Why
Uganda?
not call it passed? You must have passed in Uganda.
Yes.
Go to China.
Because I've seen it at the
They don't know
curriculum.
English.
Or Uganda, Lunyoro, whatever.
Yes.
Why not passing it?
Why, so the summary of all this is on the curriculum. We need a fundamental change of the curriculum, not just changing one thing. No, we must start real things. For example, how about, as an example, because someone out there who is viewing me say, okay, I'm critical on that. So what idea do I have? As an example.
My question comes here. Did we really receive the independence? Or we are still slaves?
We are totally slaves. We are totally still being ruled by those guys. And for me, I was thinking of this. For example, why don't we change things and we say, from P1 to P5, those years every child is taught, for example, how to become a carpenter.
It could work out.
Yes. By the time you reach those 5 years,
You are very okay.
you are a very good carpenter. From
Very
P
good
there
engineer.
to the next 4 years,
Very good mechanic.
we are only focusing on welding. Yes. So that by the time
Start
we finish senior 4, nobody will be looking for a job. Yes.
This one, you know, this, you know, the other.
Everybody, you leave this and then you start practicing. You start earning money. And you know, because of this poor curriculum, it has affected us so much. Did you know it has affected even the tax base of this country? Yes. Now, a few individuals who come up and they are trying to pay the tax, like for example the business community, you're seeing how they are crying.
They are crying.
Efris, they are
Yes.
crying. They are saying, but this is too much. You're over now peeping into our.
It is
Why?
true.
Because they are just a few. But if the education was good, we teach our kids, we teach the entire country the right things, practical things to do. Everybody would be having
And more taxes
the
are still
ability
being
to
imposed.
Exactly. So that now, by the way, for your information, if everybody was paying taxes, then nobody actually would even feel the burden of it. Because then it would be small, but collectively, then it becomes huge.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kangao Yeseri. I just pray that we move in a short break and then we do return. We shall actually be finalizing with the last news item and sign out of here due to the issue of time.
Mukyala,
waitu
Madina Education Center olirabye?
Madina Education Center isomero muno mugenya karoraho kale likusika sikiriza muno owenkonki onu nohagenda kutandikira kusoma
ajati omwana akyayonka
arayonka nasoma kandi nkugenda n'okuzala y'abandi basatu nabo basomera hano Madina Education Center
abaffe Madina Education Center ng'otuuseeyo olabira ddala Madina eri eyo Middle East naye essomero liri wano Nyakibezi Masindi Kafu Road.
Madina Education Center isomero ndigondeze lyaboojo n'abaisiki na boarding primary school baina nursery section hamu na daycare section batirexika abaana barahumuraga harume byokuzanisa nka toys enungi muno
ate primary section nayo ya mulembe nnyo abasomesa batendeke bulungi classes zisize nnyini metron wali dormitories nnungi zirimu n'emifaliso actually emifaliso bitabo kalamu wamu ne peni byonna obisangayo ku ssomero bya bwereere balina ne school van ey'okutambuza abaana.
Madina Education Center liri ha musinga gw'obusiramu bayitu tubakusorora dini n'abakurisayo bakutangirwa school fees nizisoboka okwehandikisa ku kugenda omaiso aisomero eri kusangibwa Nyakibete mairo 3 okuruga Masindi town ha Masindi Kafu Road bateirona special class yokukwata kuruhano mutwe kumanya ebikusinga otera hasimu 0
You're welcome back from that short commercial break. And one more time, thanks for being on to the panel. I pray that you get onto the YouTube app and type your comment as we actually get into the minutes of signing out of this actually place. You know, before we go into our break, we're actually talking about education. We pray that the government of Uganda as well and the Ministry of Education try to look for ways on how to amend the curriculum as well, so that we can simply transition and get to a real different generation compared to what we have actually been studying to enable our country stand by its own. And away from there, this very week, that was on Sunday, as we was actually putting down the previous week, we saw the death of the Iranian president, that is none other than Ibrahim Raisi, that actually passed on in a plane crash. Briefly, I just want you guys to have a say about it, because there have actually been a number of allegations whereby these people saying that it could have been, it's called Israel that was actually into this. But basing on the news that I've actually been viewing, Israel also came out and said, no, where do you see our country heading, actually a world heading to, if we start actually seeing these kind of things actually happening?
One possibility is that a third world war could be boiling slowly.
It is true.
Because once you see those big boys start killing one another like that, it is a threat. And I like what you commented on. We can't rule out the possibility of Israel being behind the death of Rais. Why? Because Iran and Israel, they don't have a very good working relationship. But there's the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Russia is called Sergei Lavrov. Immediately that incident happened, he addressed the world. He said he knows the person behind it. It was America. He put the blame on the US. Why? He gave his reasons. He said that chopper that president was flying in was actually an outdated chopper. It was out of date. But the president could not get a new one. Why? Because the US put sanctions
on
them as a country. So they had no access to, for example, aviation, importing in aviation materials, including, for example, the plane. So he had no choice. He was there, so he kept on using that one. But of course, the direct issue has been poor weather, because he was flying, I think, above the mountains, and then there was some kind of fog and and then it crashed. But Lavrov, and even there's a former minister in Iran also, he also agreed. He says yes, the challenge, actually the problem, the person who takes the blame is the US, because of those silly sanctions put on them.
Yes.
So they forced him to be flying in an outdated chopper, which was very dangerous for his health. And finally it has happened. The man has died, and it's a very sad story for Iran as a country. People have been crying seriously because he has been a darling. That man has had a record of very good service. When you look at all the positions he has
Right
been.
from 2021.
Yes.
He was a chief what? He was a chief justice of Iran.
Yeah.
And from there, the president actually has been in some good positions.
Yeah, so he has been he has been a very big asset to the country. But that's how his story has ended.
Actually,
we are so
that is
sorry
it.
for them as a country. And I think let me also take this opportunity
Just
for
last
all,
words for the viewers.
for all our viewers for giving us this time, and thank you for being part of the show. And I want to send my greetings to two people. Just the first one is called Salim, the son of Lazak, just opposite Coca-Cola in Masindi here, Coca-Cola depot. And then of course I also don't forget to send my greetings to my wife,
That is
called Doreen Umubuat, the one and only. So I send my
thanks for
greetings
actually
to you.
remembering Omubuat. So beautiful. Andaba Moses, actually getting back to you, this very week we saw the days of the Iranian president, that is Ibrahim Raisi. And after the days, we saw some Iranian people from outside countries like in America, UK, and as our countries celebrating. What actually image does it portray? Should we say these are side of the opposition that have been opposing the president, or there is how they were inspired or interested of how this happened?
Thank you. Actually, the days of that president of Iran, Raisi, surprised very many people, and people wouldn't expect it. But you know, because accident it is unplanned, sudden, though others are planned. But when your time comes, definitely you have to go. We cannot blame someone until maybe otherwise you find the real cause for the death of that person. But sincerely, these days will create really leadership succession in Iran, because there are those who believed in him, like as if he was now going to be successor of a man who was prominent, actually the former man in Iran, was called Karim Sajupwa. So very many people had taken him to be successor, but he has tried, and unfortunately he has gone. But those who are celebrating, everywhere there are always oppositions, because not everyone will love you, even if however much good you are. Even if people could be seeing God like this, even there are those who could be opposing that what God is doing
is not right.
It is not right.
Yes.
So you will never be perfect, and everyone will never love you, however much you try to do what inspires people. So he has gone. We should just pray for his soul, as well as Iranians should prepare to vote someone whom they think will fall and actually be in that position of his. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Maybe as you went out, basing on what you've actually been seeing is whatever Gaza and Israel, we see, is it Russia and which country? Ukraine. Don't you see that we're now getting to the third world war and what is happening right now?
Yeah, that's what some people are talking of. But you know, Iran, these Asian countries, at times they don't coordinate with some of those European countries. And in that war between Palestine and Israel, so America and Israel have been condemning Iran for supporting Afghanistan, the Palestinians in that war of Gaza. So Iran, of recent, tried to launch a missile to Israel, and some of those missiles were intercepted by Americans. Most of them were intercepted. Just because of that, I think there is that enmity between now Israel versus Iran, Israel versus Palestine. Then America is also backing Israel. But Russia also on the other side. Now war is likely to happen. But there is one of the former prime minister for Iran. He said the death of the president shall be put as one of the crimes against humanity committed by America.
Yes.
So I think to him he took it in the other angle of America being the one behind the death of racists. But we shall find the truth. Of course, those people are not like some of those African countries.
Okay.
They will investigate and
Yes.
the truth will come.
Okay.
So I want to say for today, we have ended here. Whoever has been following us, thank you very much. And we'll catch up again next Friday if God wishes.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Andama Moses. And right now, I take this opportunity to actually appreciate everyone that have actually kept on to the sites of Elkem TV. But before I get to sign out, Mr. Producer, do we have some messages to pass through? We don't? Okay, fine. You know, whoever's actually sent your message, thanks very much for actually having contributed towards this particular show. And we appreciate you for actually always keeping it Elkem TV and loving Agafiire Mu wiki. And we as well. Have yourself a nice weekend.
Mukyala
waitu
Madina Education Center olirabye?
Madina Education Center isomero muno mugenya karoraho kale likusikiriza muno owenkwonki onu no hagenda kutandikira kusoma
Ajati omwana akyayonka
arayonka nasoma kandi nkugenda nokuzala y'abandi basatu nabo basomera hano Madina Education Center
abafe Madina Education Center ng'otuuseeyo olabira ddala Madina eri eyo Middle East naye essomero liri wano Nyakibezi Masindi Kafu Road.
Madina Education Center isomero ndigondeze lyabojjo n'abaisiki na boarding primary school baina nursery section hamuna daycare section batera ekisika alabana barahumu